Always carry a first aid kit. Welcome back, friends, to a beautiful day in the old growth forest of the Pacific Northwest. In today's video, we're going to be testing one of the most unusual axes I've ever come across, and that is the Klecker Lumberjack. Let's take a close-up look here at this very unusual tool. I'll give you my initial impressions and what its, what its intended use is for. So here's the problem, I think, with a lot of us that like to, do bushcrafting and stuff. I mean, if you're really set up for it, it's okay. It's easy to take an axe. This being, of course, the gold standard, the Grand Forest Brook Small Forest Axe, probably my favorite of all time. But with that long handle, you're not going to take that when you're backpacking, or you're just not going to take it. It's just too hard to deal with. So the idea, I think, behind this one, the Clax, is that it is something that's going to fit in any pack, and it gives you the ability to make and to hang a handle in the field. My first choice for suitable handle material is going to be vine maple. We want something that's going to be green, because green is going to be tough and a little bit more flexible. If we open these jaws up, as far as they'll go, we need to get kind of a rough dimension or size of the handle that we need. So if we use that ruler, where does that come out to? On the back. Okay, so yeah, so if we just go one hash in there, as long as the maple is that diameter, then we should be fine. Yeah, that actually looks just about perfect, and it's reasonably straight. Let's go with that. As far as handle length goes for this, about 16 inches or so. The saw is about 14. That looks about right there. Do you enjoy these videos? I'm not going a step further until you click that thumbs up button. I can wait. I've got all day out here in the forest. All right. I appreciate that. I think it would work on either end. This is the small end here. Yeah, let's put it on the big end. We'll know that work. We can cut it down a little bit if we have to. Cutting a kerf in the end of a branch like this can be really tough if you don't have any way to hold on to it. Here's a little trick I show you. Another reason why you should always carry a belt, especially when you're in the backcountry. If you have to cut in an end grain, it's difficult if you don't have a clamp or something to hold it. So Granddad was adamant about 3 things. You said you never left the house without 3 things: a leather belt, a pocket knife, and a handkerchief. This is a brand new belt I'm testing that Nick's Boots made for me. Ow! Ooh, I cut my finger. You know when here's wisdom for you. Well, the Clax axe is sharp. I can attest to that. I was talking about experience. Perfect example. I put this in my back pocket with the blade up because I didn't want to put it on the ground, because the older I get, it's harder to pick up things off the ground. And I rubbed my hand back there and cut myself down to the bone. Always carry a first aid kit, especially when you're by yourself. You know, this is just a mere flesh wound, but had that been something serious, the want of a tourniquet would be the difference between living and dying, among other things, especially if you're out working with chainsaws. It's just not something, you just can't do it anymore. Get an IFAK. That's a nasty, nasty cut there. Well, at least that blade is sharp. Boy, I got 2 hand injuries today. I was unloading the truck here, and I pinched with my tripod, I pinched my finger right there with the tripod leg. I don't want to wrap the joints, because I still need to use it. I think I'll wash up a little bit here. We don't want to attract the Sasquatch. I think we're pretty close with our kerf. If we hold it up here as far as our depth goes. Yeah, I think that's about right. We'll go with that. This, of course, is the excellent Spyderco Bushcraft. I fear, sadly, no longer produced. But I haven't been on their site. Maybe they're making it again. But it's the best I've ever used. It's my most favorite. I could do this with a knife, but it would be a lot slower. So the saw helps a lot. All right, so it's not pretty, but it's there. Let's see how close we are here. The diameter looks really good, but we're not deep enough. I'm pretty happy with that. We're all the way down, have a little bit on the top. Now, the important part, I read the instructions, is we need to make some little indentations or some grooves for these biting teeth here, or that head's going to slip off there, because you can't get a whole lot of clamping pressure on that tiny little screw. So I'll mark this on all four sides. Let's try this on for size. That is as tight as I can get it. It seems to be seated in pretty well. It's feels pretty secure. I don't know how well this is going to stay tight under the shock of striking, but the balance feels good. I mean, it actually feels like a usable, serviceable tool. I mean, no problem so far. Let's put it to the test. Let's see how it does on the simple felling here. What do we got here? Western red cedar. So this is not a hardwood, but it's about the size of something that you would process for firewood or make a shelter with. I don't have any illusions that this is going to be a full-size axe, but now my Grand Force Brooks I typically can work with one hand, and this feels very similar as far as weight goes. Let's see how it splits. I think we know how it's going to split. It's going to be terrible. The reason why an axe is the shape that it is, and of course when we go to the gold standard here, the Grand Force Brooks has that taper. Do you see the taper right there? This is a really great hybrid because it's got that long, skinny blade that bites and cuts deep into the wood, but when you get up to the eye towards the pole, then you've got that nice wedge that just pops that wood apart. You see here we're lacking that with the clacks. We don't have that. So I don't know how well it's going to work. I've got that little piece of Western red that we cut here. Try not to chop my hand off. It's working loose on me. Yeah, it's not great, is it? I can't get any force on it to break the blade free. Let's marshal on. It's spinning on me. Yeah, this is hopeless. This is not something that's going to work for for splitting. Can I even get it out? Versus, yeah, the head's working loose. It's kind of a, in my opinion, it's a little bit of a sketchy tool because it's that head being loose all the time. It just makes me nervous working around it. And then having that knife blade on there too, also, it's something you don't want to turn your back on for sure, versus our traditional axe here. Get in the center. Yeah, I think we all kind of knew that. The obvious question is it a gimmick or is it a serious tool? Now, these are my opinions, but in my opinion, it's a novelty. It's a bit of a gimmick. Would it be better than nothing? Would I rather have this than a sharp rock? Well, absolutely. But this thing was expensive. I did this video. This was requested by one of you guys. And when I went online and I bought this, when everything was said and done with the tax, it was $181. That's way too much money for this, especially something that's not hand sharpened. That's, I mean, that's a lot of money. Would you, because these are about the same price, would you rather have a Grand Forest Brook small forest axe, or would you rather have a Clax axe? I mean, come on. I mean, who's it made for? I mean, it's kind of clever. It's one of those things. It's kind of one of those BuzzFeed things you see where it looks really cool if you don't know anything. This is probably really popular with your urbanite survival crowd. But let's be honest, this is not something that you would want to go out and have to build a shelter with or for firewood, in my opinion. It is, it's a nice conversation piece, but it's not a real functioning tool. I watched some reviews of guys, I think they probably got them for free, that went on and on about how wonderful it is. Some guys did, some guys didn't, but you saw it, you can judge for yourself. But $180, I'll take this all day long. I mean, I test a lot of these survival tools and it's kind of fun. It makes good, interesting content, and it gives me the opportunity to come out into the forest and play around. But there's no way to duplicate what's already been done, and the perfect trifecta for survival tools is right here. I mean, no one's improved upon this. There isn't, in my knowledge, there isn't anything that is a one-stop shop that can replace these. It's just as good as it gets. You know, these new things are being designed and marketed just to sell. These tools here are made and designed and have evolved by people that have actually needed to rely upon them. I mean, the axe, it speaks for itself, right? So the axe and a bushcraft knife and a small folding saw, I mean, that's perfection right there. You throw in a trenching tool, for example, a small, like a USGI type of folding shovel, and a water bottle and a cook pot with some basic skills, you can do what you need to do, not with that thing. That is not recommended. But that's it. That's my review. That's my opinion. Thanks for watching. Again, if you haven't already, please click the thumbs up. If you enjoy these videos, please keep us in your prayers. We pray for you constantly. May God bless you and your families, and we'll see you all on the next video.